hello, hello.
Good
Hello,
morning.
hello, hello. How are you, Phoenix?
I'm wonderful. How are you today?
I'm good on this hot, sunny day.
I grabbed my cup of tea and my homemade blueberry sourdough, and I am ready to go.
You're ready to go. Hi, Carol. Good to see you. I see that you shared the live. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Good
Uh,
morning. Good morning.
yep. Good morning. I am ready to go. I we're talking about the Lori Vallow trial today. Vallow Daybell. I always just say Lori Vallow, whatever. That was insane. Did you think so, Phoenix?
I think that explains it. Well, the whole trial was wild.
The whole trial was wild, but I specifically wanted to go over in a little while, and I've got some stuff to show. The things that the jurors said afterwards that blew me away that I did
Yeah.
not know. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but just wanted to get your thoughts first on what, like, for me, I just think, first of all, it was a mistake for her to represent herself. But I think that she just kind of wanted to be the Lori show. That's what I think. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. She could have. She did have some counsel by her side, right? Um,
Yes.
I think she wanted to be her own voice in this case because, if you look at her last case, we know that she played a part in unaliving her children in the state of Idaho, and then Idaho sent her here to be brought to trial
Tried.
in regards to the new charges of the long list of people she's it's just wild. I don't get it. Um, and not thinking you would be caught and them uncovering things and then be sent back to Phoenix for trial. So that was wild in itself. But yeah, I'm excited to hear the sentencing date and what's going to happen. And if they're going to keep her here, if they're going to send her back to Idaho, because she does have another sentence to fulfill. So it's pretty interesting, to say the least, she's not getting out of prison.
I loved watching her do her interrogations on the stand.
She
It
was
was more
rude.
like, well, that wasn't even it for me. It was that you could clearly see, well, first of all, she didn't know how to defend herself, but that's
Mhm.
beside the point. She just wanted to get her information to these people. Like when she was talking
Yeah.
to the lady that he dated one time, she would say, "Are you aware that we this? Are you aware that we that? Are you aware that da 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 da?" And the lady was like, "Don't flatter yourself. We didn't talk about you."
Yeah, pretty
Like,
much. And I think you're right. She wanted the jury to hear certain things to persuade their voting, but didn't and just off topic real quick, didn't you know the lady that was being questioned?
yeah, she went to school with me.
Okay, yeah, because you're out
So
from that area. I
yeah,
thought that was
she so
kind of odd.
well, I mean, as soon as I realized it when I heard the name, and I was like, well, then I saw her on the stand, and I was like, wait a minute, I know this person, and all I wanted to know from her was, how did you get involved in this? And she said to me that it was just that she was on his phone, like he had been texting her, and it was all because her number was programmed in the phone as a recent contact that she got involved in this. She had no knowledge of anything. She had nothing that could add to this case, but of course
So
Lori
was
just wanted to make sure and get her words in.
was Lori trying to make it look like he was cheating on her, or they had already been separated? Correct?
I No, they were already separated. I think Lori just had you. Okay, I'm gonna compare a little bit here to Gypsy Rose because she wanted her cake and
Absolutely.
eat it too, and that's what Lori was doing. Like she wanted this lady because I'm sure there were others, but she knew now of this lady because of the to text messages and whatnot. She wanted her to know all these things about her marriage. Did you know this? Did you know that? It didn't matter to this lady, but Lori wanted her to know anyway. It's just like when she had, what was it, his brother on the stand? Did you know, was it green chili enchilada night? What does that have to do with anything?
Well, she did that too to the Social Security guy, and I was dumbfounded.
I'm like, did green chili enchiladas do have a part in this? Or I don't,
They made her do it.
did we not know that the green chili enchiladas were in his system when he passed away? Is that maybe a drug that he took first? I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of blew me away when she was grilling that lady, and I'm like, obviously they didn't talk about you very much and the life insurance. She kept trying to grill her for the life insurance policy information,
It was
which she
almost
probably didn't know
like
anything about.
she knew nothing, but it was almost like Lori thought that they had gotten together to plot something. No, Lori, it was you that was plotting, not these guys.
Yeah, that's, and I look at both of the cases that she's been in, obviously, and what's the common denominator?
Well, her?
Her. You got to think, okay, some of the stuff that isn't she the one that wanted to go to Hawaii too and live a life of without children, and here she is in the courtroom trying to defend herself. I agree with you. She was trying to put information out there to make her look less guilty or less culpable.
Yeah, but that just was not a good look. Like,
Mm-mm.
don't bring up things that have absolutely no bearing unless she just wanted to drag it out because she was out of the jail cell. That was
Yeah,
another
well,
thought of mine.
yeah, well, her demeanor was, I don't want to say, yeah, I want to say condescending. It wasn't like, I'm not guilty, help me out, right? It was more of, I'm going to grill you because you're a part of all this. And no matter if they played a part significantly or not, she's blaming all the circumstances on everyone else and not taking any accountability, like our little buddy friend, Gypsy Rose.
Yes. And so I just think that it was, she just, look at this. Look at this look on her face.
Yeah, smug.
She's not distraught at all. She's not worried. She's like, I'm out of the jail cell. I've got the drinks in front of me and I get to,
I'm
she
on
doesn't really get to
stage.
walk around. She had the belt on, but still, I
Yeah,
just,
it was a circus. I'm the center of attention. Look at me, right?
right.
And
Mm-hmm.
I did an AI picture for us, and that AI picture does a lot of justice if you want to throw that one up there, because it doesn't
Uh,
even look as good. That's the
oh, I
true
saw
Lord.
this one. I saw this one online.
Yeah, I did that. So, I thought it was wild when they let her wear a suit and look presentable like you and me, or such as the jury was dressed or the attorneys were dressed, made her
Well, they had
less,
to.
well, yeah, but I feel, and this is just my humble opinion, that anybody that is uh, accused, I don't want to say admitted, but accused of such a crime like this, they should have to go forward in their orange jumpsuits because they committed these crime, and they should be, that's an accurate representation. The one that we got in front of the public was not.
Okay, so good thing that you brought that up. So the thing is that let's pull this up.
I mean,
Oh,
is
and this
there
is
a law that states that they could wear a suit and tie and look their Sunday best?
no, it's not that. It's that. Hold on. I want to find the one that I meant to put up.
Okay.
Hold on. I should have these in order, but I don't. Hold on. Here we go. The jurors were speechless, learning afterwards the only witnesses from the day Charles Vallow was killed were dead. These guys did not know that she had a prior thing. None of them. They were chosen because of that.
Mm.
None of afterwards they were like, one of the ladies that was talking was saying, I'm going to Google it, but I haven't had access to my electronics. She said none
Oh,
of them knew that she had done anything and that they still found her guilty.
wow, that is wild because, you know,
Let's see if I
it,
can
it
find it.
it solidifies how much we do not pay attention to the world around us, right? Because the
Yeah,
average person is working, paying bills, family, friends. The last thing that they probably watch is news other than some things on social media. And
here
those
it is.
people not on social media would never know that she had been convicted and found of what she did to her children. So,
Right. It says after the trial, jurors spoke to the press about how they arrived at the guilty verdict. Jurors were shocked to hear about Vallow Daybell's previous convictions in Idaho and to learn that all other witnesses from the day Charles Vallow was killed are also now dead. They spoke about it. I watched the interviews. They had no idea.
yeah, because
One of them said,
Tylee was one. And who was the
yes,
other besides her ex?
I don't remember, but I'm just
Wasn't
reading
there a
the,
brother or something of his?
yeah, I think so, yes. But it says, I had never heard of Lori Daybell until I got picked for this jury. I had never, one of the juror trials named Carl said that.
Wow. I didn't even look into what the jurors had said since last night. I didn't even Google or research who the juror were on this trial. So I can only imagine if one of them was shocked. Um, what about the other 11 or the alternates?
Well, I only saw two talking. I only saw two talking, but
So 3 of the 12 jurors spoke with the media after the verdict. Ultimately, it did come down to Daybell's text messages. So I didn't get to see those text messages. I don't know if they're out there in the public yet. I'm sure after trial it will be available or somebody will FOIA them or whatever. But if you are ultimately found guilty on text messages, hello, PSA, if
don't.
you're planning to do something like this, don't. I wouldn't
Yeah.
encourage it, but even a manufactured reset phone could be pulled up.
Yep. And this is another one, Lewis, and one of the other people, the jurors that was being interviewed. For me, it was the text messages that did it as far as the evidence. And I feel like we caught some lies. She said
Wow.
that he was, I don't know what that said. She said that he
Ned,
was Ned because they got
Ned,
him. And that was probably, oh, okay. Well, that's what it says
as
though.
in put a DE.
Yeah. That was probably the part where they were likely, okay, now it's real, said Reed Tucker.
So Reed Tucker must have been one of the jurors.
He's one of
And
the jurors. That was 3.
yeah. And so, I'm just baffled because the technology and some of the things that um, our officials in our government and things like that, the text companies, carriers, they can uncover and recover so much in our communications that, no matter what she said on that stand, if it came down to text messages, whoa, that is wild. And that was by her own admission. I mean, did she take the stand?
No, I don't remember her ever taking the stand.
No. And they didn't show any footage if she took the stand. I don't think she did.
No,
And
in her closing, she was quick to say that the prosecution only showed some of the interrogation evidence. And all my thought was when she said that was, you were allowed to ask for some of that to be shown also.
absolutely. And even if it was to her detriment, because there was when I was watching the trial, there was a questionable issue about her issuing subpoenas to witnesses and having their addresses.
Yes.
And the judge gave her a very stern warning that anything that is going out needs to be reviewed by them first. Where in the world did that error be made if she had access to somebody of counsel next to her? They just didn't let her fly on this alone. And all the testimony and all the trial, I don't know if the whole thing was televised, but I know I saw bits and pieces of it. So when it comes right down to it, she was trying to tell her story without taking the stand in A, her questioning to the witnesses, and B, in her opening and closing statements.
Yes. But again, through all of this thing, she was pretending to be a lawyer. She had just as much right to show things that the other side did. And in her closing, she just made it quite clear that the prosecution was the ones who decided to show shorter versions of the interrogation of one person or none at all of hers and somebody else. You could have asked for that, Lori. You could have shown that. You could have
Yeah,
gone over that.
and I'm sure that the process next will be she will appeal
Right.
and say ineffective counsel.
or that she didn't get to show the videos, the interrogation videos or something
The
like
full
that.
evidence.
But Lori
she
spent
had
more
the
time on
opportunity. Yeah, she
had
had
more time spent on chicken enchiladas.
And Social Security and dating.
Maybe she's
other
hungry
women.
in prison. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe she was trying to hint.
Yeah, I think she'll probably do some type of an appeal, ineffective counsel, and then, she had every right to put any exhibit on she could have. And if that exhibit included the videos, like you said, the full or the portions that she wanted to show, she could have put those up there. So I guarantee you, this was just a dog and pony show.
Right. And this is what you were talking about before. On top of it, Vallow Daybell's demeanor in both interviews with law enforcement and throughout the trial spoke louder than words, raising red flags for jurors. She was just like smiling and laughing and didn't seem to take anything very seriously, said Lewis. She would just look at us and smile and smirk and smirk. So it kind of gave it away for a lot of, like, she just kind of didn't really care, he said. Another text message that stood out was Lori Daybell learning she was no longer the beneficiary of Charles' life insurance policy, which is believed to be the reason she wanted him to die.
Well, that doesn't make sense. That does not make sense. If she wanted him unalived and she knew she wasn't on the beneficiary, why would that give her a reason to just want him to be disappeared, gone?
Right. She's not going to get anything.
Right.
Maybe she was just angry.
Yeah, possible.
I mean, at that point, had she already unalived her children? I mean, at this point,
I don't think so.
I was going to say, if she had, then what does it matter?
Yeah, I don't think so. But she did have some type of benefit when Taylor and JJ passed. She was still getting some type of benefit from Social Security, was she not?
Yes.
And she didn't I think she was. And she did not. Now let me just roll back a little here. There are a lot of people that don't report unalivings to the IRS, to the Social Security, to the government, because they continue to receive some type of benefit. And it's up to the individual to report the unaliving. Now, with that being said, there's quite a few people who do this, unfortunately. Now, she was also on the stand. If you heard the gentleman from Social Security, she never reported that she had married Chad Daybell. So she was still getting some additional benefits that she should have not gotten. So if it was all for the money, then yeah, it was all for the money.
Well, that's just fraud to add to everything else.
Well, I'm sure that there's going to be some type of fraud charges. I mean, these charges come after, they're more quieter. They're not going to need some big trial. The testimony is already on the record. They could pull that transcript of the proof and charge her with fraud and never go to trial. And hopefully she'll take some plea deal. It'll just add some more time. But isn't she already going to spend lifetime in prison?
Yeah, I don't even understand the point, except for, like I said, she got to come out of prison. And even when in between the trial, when she was in the prison, she had the rights to go to wherever she needed to, the library, whatever, inside the prison in order to get ready for her trial. And so she was able to leave more freely than if she was not in this. And I think that was the whole purpose of it. She just wanted some freedom. I mean, it's not really freedom, but to her it might be.
Yeah. And I think all the it was all stacked against her. She had known what she had done even before she did the second of her crimes and her charges. And um, I'm just, I'm baffled that why they didn't do a thorough investigation with the PD the first time around, and she was stopped. She could have been stopped before her unaliving of her children. I mean, if they would have caught her back then, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to put any words in anyone's mouths, but if the police had done their job and the investigators had not washed this over, they would have caught her earlier on, and these children would still be here today.
I just, out of everything that you see in the press about certain things, for this one, I just see her walking along the beach in Hawaii with not a care in the world when they're asking her where her children are. That's the thing that sticks with me the most about her.
I think the thing that sticks with me the most about her is when that reporter stopped her and Chad, and the look on her face where they got caught. She didn't have an answer. And
Yeah.
that's the one that I remember the most out of this case, is the moment that the light bulb went off for her. Oh crap, I'm in big trouble.
I don't know how does someone have such a warped mind that they think they're going to get away with this? That's the question. And I don't understand it. I don't understand unaliving in the first place. I think we can say killing on YouTube, but whatever. But to do it to someone in your family, mother, children, anybody related to you, I just don't understand it. There are other
Well, I
ways to
really
handle
think she has some deep-seated issues that, when even in this trial that I caught bits and pieces of, the first thing that came to my mind, did they not give her medication? Did they not give her anything to help her focus on if she was truly innocent in this case? And that was my number one thing, is that she's not medicated. I don't think she is. I don't
I
know
mean,
what to think.
to claim that it's part of your religion. By the way, I know all of you guys know the Osmonds. I am friends with a lot of them on Facebook. I went to school with a couple of relatives of theirs. One of the Osmond brothers had posted a thing about this afterwards and said that they do not condone anything she has done, and they do not want to have the Church of the Latter-day Saints, LDS, associated with her in any manner. It's a long post. I'm sure it's probably public. I think it was Merrill who posted it, and I'm sure that you can probably go look at it. But they were livid. They were livid over this, and so they made it a point to say, this is not the religion. This is a warped mind who has taken it and ran with it.
So yeah, I think hold on a minute, let me see.
I could probably find it.
Yeah, I was looking for it too.
He's on my friend's page. Hold on. Let's see if I see it. Let's see.
And I could totally see how
Here it is.
this could tie into some serious issues, right?
I found it. You want me to read it? What? She went away. I'm going to read it because
individuals who have committed unaliving. Lori Vallow is one such individual. Despite being a member of the church, she and her accomplice have completely gone off the rails and misrepresented what we believe about spiritual matters. Every time someone, regardless of their religious beliefs, decides to create their own interpretation of doctrine, they enter a world of darkened perceptions. I am offended by this woman and man's misrepresentation of tarnishing our sacred doctrine. I can relate to this. I mean, it goes on to say, if you are the following dysfunctional individuals, You need to realize about how out of touch they really are. And I would have to agree with him. I would totally have to agree with them.
Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an attendee. Sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, Amanda, thanks for joining us. If you just tuned in, we are talking about the Lori Vallow jury and what they had to say. And this is a quote from Merrill Osmond about being a church member and what she was portraying. And then he went on to say, I'd also like to say that there are others who have either been offended or simply decided to bash our church, misrepresenting and creating fear-based perceptions of our belief. And I think this could be for any church, not just this church. YouTube podcasts seem to be in relish the sensationalism, painting a darkened and negative picture of what we members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints truly believe. In case you have any questions that are confusing to you, feel free to reach out to the missionaries or send a message on here, and I'll clarify them for you, Merrill. And I can get his perspective. I can get behind that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible to think that even an Osmond member would be feeling this in order to put it out there publicly. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, he has better things to do.
Absolutely. There's like 23 comments on this. And you know what? Even the first comment says, I'm sorry this is happening. As a Catholic, I understand misrepresentations of beliefs. I've had to deal a lot with our church as well. And then there's somebody else chiming in, it's not just this religion. I think it's religion in general, the belief in the devotion that they are so convicted by. You don't do these things like you just said, right, Naomi? You just said, we don't do these unalivings. And this is the moral compass and structure of our social presence as being humans, is that we do not unalive others. We do not unalive our mothers. We do not unalive our fathers. We do not unalive our neighbors. It's a moral code that we stand by. And unfortunately, in our society, it's rampant. And these people are becoming famous. And they're making money, and they're making book deals, and they're making documentary money. And it's a moral issue. It's not just a moral injury. It's a moral issue that's run rampant. So I can stand behind him, and I can get what he's saying.
What I was going to say is, it's not just a religious thing either. We do it in politics too. People get so heated on the opposite side that they do silly things. It's not just religion. I just more see religion as being the reason that people use to do these kinds of things. I can't count the number of times I've heard, I thought they were, what's the word? When somebody's taken over by bad spirits, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyways, that's what I hear often. And it's not a reason. There's no reason. But the world is changing, and it's not, to me, changing in a good way, but we can't fix it. All we can do is do what we're doing, like in this case with Lori, and move forward from it. But I thought his post was a really good post. He's a very good writer.
I think there's just no justification for this. There's just not, right? I mean, even unaliving the children, it is
correct.
It just blows my mind. Unaliving the person who gave you life is just, I can't make that mental connection, out of respect. It just blows my mind.
I could never in a million years imagine hurting my children.
I
know
couldn't imagine ever hurting my mother. I couldn't.
Well, that too.
I just
possessed. Couldn't. Thank you, Amanda. That was the word I was looking for. Possessed.
Yeah. I just couldn't imagine.
I knew a young lady who had very young children, and she got frustrated with her children. It is not me, just to preface it with that. And she would get angry with the children, 5, 7, 8, and she would say, "If you don't stop, I'm going to cut off your fingers." And I remember thinking, no, that, it's okay to get angry with your kids and say silly things, but that's not the one you want to say. That is not okay.
Mm-mm.
And so I think that we just say things in the heat of the moment that are just not okay. And we do things in the heat of the moment that are not okay. And you have to look towards your moral compass, and you either have one or you don't. It's that
Yeah,
simple.
but do you think, I mean, this is going deep, right? I mean, was this something that she planned ahead of time? Was it something that she planned with the kids? Was this premeditated? Was it spur of the moment? Was it passion?
Was it that she met this guy who promised her the moon, and he said, if you didn't have kids, I'd be with you? I mean, and she wanted
Mhm.
it so badly that she just didn't want the kids anymore. There could be a million different things. I
Yeah,
mean,
that makes
I've known people that have wanted to be with a man so much that they would literally do anything.
that's just weird.
It is,
That
but it
just blows my
happens.
mind.
There's no
I guess
man that's worth it. None.
I guess we are like the oddballs here, right?
I am an oddball. I'll take it. I'll be an oddball any
I'll
day.
take it. I'll take one for the team.
I
We
am
just
not
don't
going to be
think.
that person. Sorry, kids. This man wants to be with me, and you're in my way. No. Mm-mm. Nope. Ain't
Wow.
happening.
So is she go okay, so she goes back to Carol says me too. Um we got to Carol. Welcome to the club.
Carol's in our age group, so
Yeah, welcome to the club. We've survived and we have the wisdom and knowledge, thank God. So does she go back to her little cell in Maricopa County? Do you know?
well, I would think that since she has an appeal option here, that she's probably going to go back to Maricopa. If
Well,
she
first there
doesn't
has to
file
be
an
sentencing.
right, yeah, but I mean, if she doesn't appeal it with it, you have a certain amount of time to appeal. I
Yeah,
forget if it's 30 days or 45 days.
I think it's
But if she
40.
doesn't appeal, then I'm sure she goes back to Idaho. I would think.
Yeah,
Get her
extradition.
out of
I
here. We
don't
don't
know.
want her.
Hmm.
But we're
Wow.
going to have to wait and see.
So, but she did lay out, I did see when she laid out her closing arguments, if we back up real quick. So the state had called 19 witnesses, and I know I saw a handful of them. It was mind blowing. They did show phone calls, text messages, GPS data. I know I wrote down they did have some surveillance footage, and I did see police footage to lay out the case for conspiracy. They didn't use um, the footage from Tylee because she was a witness that day. They didn't use her footage. And I know I saw the prosecutor. I watched it all day, and I think I remember there was about an hour and a half, and I kind of was listening to it in the background. She was going over everything in the case, and she clearly laid it out the motives. One was money. I remember that. Two was Chad Daybell. She wanted to get rid of him and Chad to be, um, I guess, no interference from her ex with Chad. And then the third thing that she laid out on PowerPoint was I want to say, religious beliefs or something of that nature. Uh, it was, I think she used the words, it was twisted to justify the murder. Um, and I remember one quote that I did write down. Here, let me grab my book real quick because I was like in the middle of cooking something or doing something, and it kind of
While you're
sparked.
looking for it, I don't think the
Yeah.
prosecution showed some of this because they knew she was representing herself and they didn't need it, by the way.
Oh, okay. So when I was watching, I was writing down some things I saw, and this was one of the quotes that the prosecutor used. Um, the defendant is a person who set up Charles so her brother could shoot him. That's what she told the jury. The prosecutor, what was her name? Trina Kay. So she's the one that told that statement in front of the jury in the closing argument. And then obviously Lori gave her closing arguments, telling the jurors that the state didn't prove anything, and
Right.
there was reasonable doubt that
Oh
she.
yeah, she went over that reasonable doubt stuff quite a bit. There are some people in the chat asking if Chad has children, and I'm going to read you something real quick,
Yeah.
because we're talking about testifying anyway. Daybell does have a son and a daughter. They both testified in his defense, telling the court that he valued their mother, Tammy Daybell, and was distraught over her death. He was more distressed than I've ever seen him in my entire life, his daughter said. So yes, he does have 2 children, guys. They were asking that question, so I thought I would clarify for them. But yeah, I remember her closing, and Lori was like reading the jury directions, and she kept specifying what reasonable doubt was. And I was just like, I think the jury has already been read these directions by the judge.
Yeah, because what I remember when I saw her give the closing argument, and this was just yesterday that she gave her closing argument, she told the jurors before they went into deliberation, she did tell the jurors that the burden of doubt was on the state. Remember, she said, there has to be a reasonable doubt. But then the prosecutor did object, and the judge did some objections. She tried to bring up evidence that wasn't introduced.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? And then she tried to insert her own testimony without ever taking the stand. That's the way she was going to bring all this up, to where she didn't have to be cross-examined by the prosecution to make her even look worse.
I just want to correct something you said. She didn't
Yeah.
do her closing arguments yesterday. She did it Monday.
Oh, the day before. Sorry, I've lost a day.
Yep, that's okay. I did look up, the jury deliberated 17 minutes on Monday, 90 minutes before lunch on Tuesday, and 75 minutes after lunch on Tuesday. And then the verdict was announced yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, so Lori Daybell, she kept saying that this was all self-defense and it was a family tragedy. She accused the state of kind of framing her or retrofitting the crime that doesn't exist. And then she spent about, I think, I don't know, maybe less than 20 minutes on her closing argument. She wrapped it up. And so, yeah, that was Monday. I apologize for the error.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally lost a day yesterday. And then
I do
obviously
it all the time.
the state gave a rebuttal statement. And that's when Kay said that it was, I don't know if I can say this word on YouTube, but it was basically an execution. It wasn't a family tragedy.
And again, not showing any emotion while she's doing this closing.
Yeah.
I've never seen someone so
cold.
I'm emotionless, but not just that she didn't have anger or sadness. It was just, even when she was questioning the witnesses, she was just like so matter of fact about it.
Yeah, her brother was the one, not his brother.
Oh, it was her brother that was about the enchiladas.
Yep. Alex Cox. Yes. I just wrote that down. Alex Cox was the one, because charges couldn't be brought against him because he was already dead by December 2019. So even before the charges were brought to court. So there is another trial after this. You do realize that, right?
For what?
There is one more trial. She is facing a murder conspiracy charge out of Gilbert, Arizona, for shooting attempt at her niece's ex-husband, who ultimately was not injured. This trial is going to start in a few weeks.
Well, there you go. She's staying in Arizona. I wonder if she's representing herself.
I don't know, but this is freaking wild. I just looked up the court, and there is a pending charge.
I would love to go to that one. I wonder if that's going to be open, because that's near to me. So.
Oh my God. It looks like she's got one more court after this. I didn't even realize that. Let me go back and look at the court records.
How many people did let's just make a list of people we don't want around and just go one by one.
Oh my gosh. This is wild. I had no idea. Okay, yes. Her next case. Yep, there it is. All right. So this is very, very interesting.
So she is going to Gilbert.
There is after 2 weeks of proceeding, yeah, there is a charge that is pending, and it says that there is another court trial to begin in early June on the charge of conspiring to murder Brandon Bordeaux, the ex-husband of her. Yes, holy
That's
crap.
crazy.
Yeah, this one just came out yesterday at 7:16 p.m. last night. They found her guilty, and then she goes on to her next one. Wow.
Carol says hopefully she'll be wearing her beautiful orange suit.
Oh my gosh. No, I hope she's not representing herself again. Oh,
Again,
wow.
if she's not getting out, which we know she's not, I think she'll represent herself, not because she lost this last one, because I don't think she cares. I think it's all about being on TV, being in front of the cameras, being able to speak freely and be the show. I don't think she's gonna have a lawyer.
Yeah, oh, wow. Well, if she takes her own case by the reins, that's another scary moment. I think they might as well just throw away the key and lock her up forever.
Could you imagine if
Because,
she appeals, the people that were on the stand the first time, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I have to do that again. I have to hear about her chicken enchiladas again. I
oh,
have to.
I must have left a something on you to remember that. Because,
Well, I mean, I have represented myself in court before,
Mhm.
and there never has been a time when I have left going, not this kind of case. It's like domestic stuff.
Right.
There's never been a time when I've left not thinking, oh, I should have done this or I should have done that. So I'm sure she's already made her notes, oh, I should have asked, this and that. And I'm sure it's going to be even more interesting the second time around.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't think they're gonna give her. I mean, I don't know. These people. I mean, isn't she in the same prison as Jodi Arias?
Well, she would, yeah, she
I
is
think she is.
actually. I
Yeah, I
think
think
so
she
too.
actually is. Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Maybe
Wow.
those two are talking. Oh, God, that is a dangerous pair.
Who knows? I mean, does she have free reign in prison to go out and talk to others?
No, my mom used to be in that prison. She was a high profile correctional officer. I don't think they do.
Yeah, they probably
They're
can't.
let out in rounds in certain times and they're watched completely. So,
That's wild. That prison down there is pretty huge. It's close to the Homeland Security prison that's out there too. I've been
mhm,
down there. There's quite a few interesting characters that are housed in those prisons down there.
yeah.
Um,
Hey,
so
maybe she wanted her green and chicken enchiladas out there. Maybe she thinks she's going to make a cookbook while she's in, like
make,
Martha Stewart.
make a cookbook or ask them to make them for her last
Maybe. I
meal.
mean, maybe I'll write
Yeah,
to her and ask her for the recipe
I mean, she will technically be in prison for the rest of her life
without
with
the possibility of parole.
yeah, with this next charge that she's going to be sentenced probably in, a couple of weeks. This is her second trial and she's on to her third one. She is already serving 3 life sentences in the Idaho case, so she will never be
See
free.
the
She
light
will
of
never
day.
see the light of day to go and visit
Mm-mm.
Hawaii again.
I just want to go once.
Yeah, I've been already, so it's expensive but beautiful. But if you ever really want to spend some money and go somewhere, Costa Rica is gorgeous.
Good to know.
So, I'm looking at all this and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, did she unalive her own brother? Did she have any part in that?
I mean, her brother was doing a lot of her dirty work. That would just be insane unless she thought her brother would talk. I don't know.
Yeah, well, her brother said there's a quote from him at the time before he passed away. He claimed that he acted in self defense and then he died 5 months later from what medical examiners was said to be a blood clot in his lungs.
Wow. I don't
So
know.
odd.
It
So
seems
odd.
fishy to me.
So now she's on trial. Obviously, the next court date is in June, like I said, on the charge of conspiracy to murder Brandon Bordeaux, the ex-husband of Vallow Daybell's niece. But the guy survived.
Yeah, isn't he the one that kind of told cops that she was a little off and that he was worried?
Yeah, he. This is exact quote. He had told people her husband was no longer living and that was a zombie living inside his body. That's what he testified before Vallow's death. I don't get what that was all about. But yeah, he's the one that said she was a little off. His sister back, he tried to, they were planning an intervention to bring his sister back to the mainstream of the church, that she was a little off the rails and they were trying to do an intervention. So weird, just so weird.
That's strange. Do we have any questions from the peanut gallery over there? Thank you, ladies,
But
for actually
I think,
texting.
I think, she was just obviously found guilty in his murder. But I do believe she had filed. Okay. 4 months before he died, he did file for divorce. I don't think she could handle that. I think he was just tired of all the BS. Now he's the one that said she had became infatuated with the near-death experiences and claimed that she lived out numerous lives on other planets. That I think she went wacky. Some wacky cracky. Something happened. And who knows? She probably may have been having a mental breakdown or what do they call it? Postpartum depression plus 7 years. Who knows?
I mean, that's kind of weird. That's way in the future. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't think that works that way.
He did write down and he alleged before he died that she threatened to ruin him financially and kill him. He did seek a voluntary, there was evidence, mental health evaluation of his wife, Lori.
This is why when somebody says they want to unalive you guys, I take it very,
Take
very
it serious.
seriously.
Mhm.
It is not a joke.
Even a simple passing threat. It doesn't have to be a full-blown threat. No joke. I mean, look at what she's done. She made
Yeah.
the threat and she made good on her threat.
I mean, we all know that I've been threatened and the person who threatened me is not all there. So it does concern me still. So.
Yeah, I mean, God, I've been doxxed with my complete address and my phone number, and having to go to the extremes to move, change my name legally, and change my phone number, and disengage in talking with family to let them know where I am, but I'm safe. It's wild because someone had did this in the middle of me having a protection order for my son. Just crazy. And then this individual had them live on a YouTube. Wild.
That's nuts.
People are unhinged out there. Be careful.
Yep. Well,
so that's what's next for Lori Daybell. She heads to another trial. And it didn't say if she had a representation, but it did state that will be held in June. I see it on the court docket. And I don't know. See if you can get to that trial. See,
I'm gonna look up and see if it's open to the public because I would love to be there. Nothing better to do, so and I could maybe report from it.
It doesn't look like it's gonna be like all media covered, but there is another one. The guy did survive, but honey, this just shows you a pattern of her behaviors that this woman is reckless. Any woman who acts this unhinged and is that reckless is dangerous. Even people who continually harass someone, that is still dangerous. That's dangerous behavior that cannot be ignored. whether you make a report or you call the police station or you do something to protect yourself, document everything. That's always what my attorneys have always said. Document everything, hold these people accountable, and don't play softball, play hardball. And hopefully, whoever's watching this is learning something from Lori Vallow's behaviors.
You always get caught, people. You always get caught. Eventually, you always get caught. And if you're not caught right away, you got to live with the guilt. And don't tell me you don't have any.
Well, I don't know. She doesn't look like she has much of a conscience. Like, did she have that God complex to where she can just do what she wanted?
I don't know.
I mean, her smugness, her demeanor,
She really should be evaluated. She really should.
Isn't that accessible to those in prison?
I think it should be court ordered.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Clearly
agree.
Something's wrong.
I agree with you. And I'm surprised that this judge and the prosecutors did not push for something like this, especially with the prior case.
Well, because they probably don't want it to look like it was a medical thing, and then she'll get off a little bit more easily.
Well, at some moment, somebody had. What are they just going to lock her up? Who cares? What they're not going to spend the resources on her. It's just concerning. Yeah, Carol agrees. It's very concerning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this has been a session for sure.
Yes, it has. Thank you for those that were joining. And yeah, I appreciate it. And this is posting on our YouTube. I will post it on my YouTube, and it's also on my Facebook at this point. So not sure if anybody's watching from over on Facebook, but thank you for everybody who's here. You can reach us at info@therealtalk.net if you ever need to talk to us, or you have a lead that you want us to look into. We're happy to listen to you. And as always, if you feel like tipping your hosts, it's for Cash App, it's The Real Talk on the Cash App. Phoenix, you can go enjoy your tea.
Man, that tea was good.
I'm going to make some lunch because my stomach's growling.
Chamomile with honey, and that was delicious. So thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to coming back and speaking more on The Real Talk.
Thanks, guys. Bye.